Hizuru explains that she met a shadow 14 years ago and it killed her family. However, she can't tell him more as if the shadows copy Shinpei, they will learn her secret. Nizu explains that once your shadow is killed they can't copy you anymore. Nizu himself has this immunity and they can never copy him again. Hizuru tells Shinpei that she will help him, but she wonders about his plan. Shinpei explains that the time limit is 54 hours, but he first wants to help Mio and take out her shadow. Hizuru agrees but states that their first problem is Shiri's family, as he saw Shiri's shadow at the festival. This means that Hizuru will fail to eliminate Shiri and she wishes Shinpei to come with her. In front of Kogmart, Hizuru turns into Ryunosuke and he listens to Shinpei and Hizuru's earlier conversation. Nizu explains that Ryunosuke doesn't have Hizuru's memories. As Ryunosuke enters the house he immediately smashes Asako's head with hammer. Tatsu then attacks Ryunosuke, but he smashes his head too. Ryunosuke gets a glimpse of his death and then avoids Asako's attack and proceeds smashing her shadow and killing her. Shinpei wonders if Hizuru has dual personality, but Nizu states that he is close but not quite. Nizu explains that he was Hizuru's twin brother but she found him dead 14 years ago. He had bite marks all over his body, making people think it was wild dogs, but the bites were distraction for the strangle marks on his neck. Meanwhile, Hizuru smashes Shiri's shadow. She already takes damage but manages to separate part of her shadow surrounding the hammer and survives with injuries. She already escapes on the 3rd floor. Ryunosuke enters Shiri's room and texts Nizu that she managed to escape from the window. Nizu then starts shooting her with his nail gun. Shinpei comes out and charges at Shiri and takes her to the ground. Nizu shoots 3 nails at her shadow and tells Shinpei it's safe to let her since piercing a shadow 3 times it stops them from moving. Shinpei asks her what their goal is. Shiri tells him that the end is coming this summer and she is gathering her family and leaving. Ryunosuke smashes Shiri and kills her. Back at home, while Shinpei is making curry, Ushio appears behind him. Shinpei is surprised because she should have appeared on 24th at the festival. Ushio wonders how he knows that and explains that some shadow-like monsters would appear at the festival and eat everyone. Once inside his room, Shinpei wonders why Shadow Ushio managed to loop with him and asks her from where she came. Ushio explains she walked from the beach where she woke up. Ushio tells him that she wants to stop the monsters and both agree to work together to prevent the events at the festival. Shinpei wonders if Ushio can copy people, but Ushio isn't able to. Meanwhile, a shadow enters the house. Mio comes to Shinpei's room and Ushio hides under the blanket. After taking the empty dishes, Mio leaves but returns in few seconds, and Shinpei realizes it's a shadow as she is in her school uniform. Shadow Mio then attempts to stab him but Ushio protects him and takes the hit. Ushio then pushes Mio back, but she enters her shadow and comes out and stabs Ushio's shadow and causing damage to her. Shinpei realizes he can't win and opens the curtains and challenges Mio. In that moment Nizu blows her head through the window, and then Shinpei drops on his knees and stabs Mio's shadow. Ryunosuke enters Shinpei's room and as he is about to smash Ushio's head, Shinpei protects her with his body, stopping Ryunosuke. Hizuru then realizes Ushio's voice is the same as the message she received that led her to the island and she decides to help her. Hizuru then plays her the message in which Ushio states that the shadows will kill everyone at the festival, requesting Hizuru's help and that the only one who can stop them is Shinpei. However, Ushio has no memories of it too. Shinpei proceeds doing what he did on 23rd and goes to work at the restaurant. He receives Ushio's phone from Tetsu, and so comes to the restaurant. Shinpei and Ushio then tell him everything. Then Shinpei gives Ushio her phone. As she looks at it she sees there is a video from 20th, in the morning of the day she died. In the video she calls her shadow and the two Ushio stand to each other. Then Ushio explains that her shadow isn't an evil one. Shadow Ushio tells him that she now remembers everything including her powers. She then offers them to replay the past from her memory data and show them what happened on the private beach on July 21st. Ushio asks Shadow Ushio if she can become her shell necklace, and then Shadow Ushio turns into it. While Mio and Akari are going away, Shiri ended in the water and is drowning. Ushio jumps in the water and swims to Shiri, who is being dragged deeper underwater by Shadow Shiri. Shadow Ushio turns back to her Ushio form and slashes Shadow Shiri's arm, but Shadow Shiri's arm is still on her and surrounds them with tiny yet powerful shadow arms. Ushio pulls Shadow Shiri out of them but then Shadow Shiri starts strangling her. Ushio tells Shadow Ushio to continue to save Shiri. Moments later Shadow Shiri catches up to Shadow Ushio and defeats her. She then erases Shiri and then acts unconscious for Mio and so to save her. Shadow Shiri, who is carried by Mio, then grabs Shinpei's arm stating that she found him. Shinpei is surprised, as this was a recording and they couldn't interact with others. Shadow Shiri even turns into Hyene, stating she was looking for him for quite some time. Shadow Ushio tells him that this isn't part of her memory. Shadow Ushio stops the replay and they return to the beach, but she sees that Shinpei has a mark on his arm where Hyene grabbed him. Shinpei wishes to go to the old clinic, and so agrees to come along. As they reach the clinic, Shinpei asks Ushio if she senses any shadows, but she denies. They entered the old clinic and start looking around, so then finds an old weird wood statue and holding a fish in his left arm. Shinpei then realizes the wood statue is Hirako. Shinpei calls Ushio and asks her to go for a small gap in the wall. Once on the other side, Ushio sees a keyhole and guesses it's a door. Shinpei calls her back, and as she scans the statue, she attempts to copy with a string of her hair the thing inside the statue, which ends up being a key. With it, Ushio opens the secret door and they see a tunnel leading below, but Ushio warns them that she senses a presence of a shadow down there. Shinpei guesses no one has been here since decades, and this is a path only shadows use. Ushio feels the direction of the shadow. Heading towards the shadow, Shinpei sees a baby-like shadow which is missing its top half of the head. Shinpei prepares to pin it with a nail gun, but as he gets a bit closer, the shadow smells him out. The shadow then escapes past Shinpei, who misses with his nail gun. Shinpei manages to calm himself down and then hits the shadow 3 times with a nail gun, making it unable to move, so then throws it at Ushio, who then kills it. Continuing, so wonders if Ushio can copy the nail gun. Shinpei states they tried and she did, but the copied machines won't work until the original is erased. Then they hear gunfire and then reach a natural cave, and multiple baby-like shadows then attack them. Having a bad feeling, Hizuru decides to go into the city sewers and Nizu follows her. Meanwhile, Shinpei, Ushio and So are trying to escape from the baby-like shadows. Shinpei notices that the shadows are only targeting Ushio, so uses spray and a lighter to keep the shadows away. While going in the sewers, Hizuru switches to Ryunosuke, who kills a shadow and feels that they are getting closer to their nest. Mio tries calling Shinpei and So, but neither is picking their phones. A shadowy Shiri even calls her, telling her that Shinpei is there. As she runs towards her, she encounters Tetsu. They see the manhole is open and they both go inside. Shinpei and the rest manage to escape the shadows. Ushio then erases her arm to stop the pain. Suddenly Takiko appears with 2 big baby-like shadows, telling them to turn slowly and not do anything strange or Ushio will die. Ryunosuke and Nizu reach a dead end with metal bars blocking the way. Ryunosuke then hears something and they hide. Tetsu and Mio then approach, and they see Shiri behind the metal bars, who then flashes and makes the bars disappear, allowing them to proceed. As Takiko gets closer, Shinpei shoots at her shadow, but Takiko just laughs. Ushio tells Shinpei that Takiko is not a shadow. Takiko leaves them to Hirako. Ryunosuke and Nizu proceed and reach the cave. Shiri reappears and reveals that she knows Ryunosuke's full name. That makes Ryunosuke realize that this is Hyene, who uses Shiri's memories. The shadow parent appears and wants to know where is the body that stole mother's right eye. Nizu states they should run as they are the ones that being hunted, and that this isn't a shadow of a human. Shiri warns the shadow that Ryunosuke is shifted about 2 seconds ahead. The shadow then shoots at Ryunosuke, but Nizu jumps in and takes the bullet. He then proceeds shooting at Ryunosuke, who manages to escape, but also gets shot. Getting closer, Shinpei and the rest hear a rumble and Takiko explains it's Hirako's stomach. Takiko then takes them to a large shadow that reaches the ceiling, and at its base is the mother of the shadows, Hyene, who states it's 9 o'clock and it's time to eat. And that's the end of the video. Please tell me your opinion, and like the video. Take care, and watch other interesting videos.